determines what you do, and your attitude determines how hard you work to achieve it. A very good morning to everyone present here. I would like to start the session with the word of gratitude and a warm welcome to all the participants to this webinar. When the world is in the fear of what would happen next, sports and fitness is one of the solutions to these problems. Today, we have with us two eminent speakers, Dr. Lakshmi, retired Chief Coach, Athletic Sports Authority of India, our first speaker, and Dr. Sutakar, HOD, Physical Education, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore, our second speaker for the day, to talk about the strategies of sports training amidst COVID pandemic. We also have with us Mr. Shrikant, Physical Education Foundation of India Secretary, Karnataka chapter, and organizing secretary of this webinar. We have with us our principal, who is our support, Reverend Dr. Sabu George. Now I call upon Dr. Muniraj MG, Physical Education Director, for a prayer and to welcome the gathering.
Good morning, all of you. I'll start with prayer. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Today, we are hosting for National Webinar, St.Claret College. I welcome you all. National Webinar on Strategies of Sports Training amidst COVID Pandemic. Organized by Department of Physical Education, St.Claret College, in collaboration with Physical Education Foundation of India, PEFI, Karnataka chapter. I'd like to welcome today first session speaker, Dr. Y.S. Lakshmi, retired Chief Coach, Athletics, SAI, behalf of St.Claret Management and St.Claret family, heartily welcome you, sir. Then today, second session speaker, Dr. Sutakar, HOD of Physical Education, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore. He is my guide and he is my guru. Behalf of St.Claret Management and St.Claret family, heartily welcome you, sir. Then this session has to be smoothly has to go, and for me helping R. Shrikant, Physical Education Foundation of India, PEFI, Secretary, Karnataka chapter, behalf of St.Claret Management and St.Claret family, heartily welcome you, sir. Our pillar and motivator, Reverend Dr. Sabu George, Principal, St.Claret College, behalf of Management and Department of Physical Education, heartily welcome you, Father. Then Reverend Father Abraham, Vice Principal, behalf of Management and Department of Physical Education, heartily welcome you, Father. Sports Coordinator, Miss Blessy, she is supporting for our webinar. Welcome you, ma'am. And our technical committee, Mr. Javin, Sachin, Uday, Shinil, and Srinivas, Nodal Officer, Central University, Bangalore. All of you, welcome you, sir. And all the participants, welcome you in National Webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for that welcome note. We extend our warm welcome to Dr. Muniraj MG, our Physical Education Director. We now have a small video presentation of our college.
St.Claret College, Bangalore, started in the year 2005, caters to the educational needs of students doing both undergraduate and postgraduate studies from Bangalore, India and abroad. In a 13 acres campus, St.Claret College has everything that is needed for the educational pursuits of students. College caters not only to the intellectual pursuits of students, but also believes in the holistic development and so incorporates both curricular and extracurricular aspects in a unique Claretine way of educating students. With its tagline, Nurturing Values and Excellence, St.Claret College ultimately aims at empowering students with values, and as they graduate from the college, they are the best in the field of education. What we aim is holistic education. Every student that passes through the portals of St.Claret College would come out as persons who are intellectually competent, professionally skilled, spiritually vibrant, morally responsible, socially just, and culturally sensitive global citizens, and only then we claim that we have achieved our mission.
St.Claret College thrives on its core values. Claret's hierarchy of core values are faith in God, justice, truthfulness, personal integrity, respectful relationality, service, synergic cooperation, and intellectual competence. These true, authentic, and universal values govern every Claretine's behavioral, attitudinal, intellectual expressions and regulate the holistic Claretine education. Values are guiding principles to understand the difference between right and wrong. These values define Claretine brand and unite not only Claretines but every human being all over the world.
Thank you, Sachin sir and Joyvin, for that video presentation. Now, I call upon our principal, St.Claret College, Reverend Dr. Sabu George, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all the participants and also the organizers of this program. Dear resource persons of the day, people from Physical Education Foundation of India, Physical Education Director of St.Claret College, Dr. Muniraju, Ms. Blasi, and other participants. We understand that COVID-19 has affected the world in many ways. And if you look at how it has affected the sports people, we cannot really speak about that because daily practice is what makes a sports person really capable of performing well. And daily exercise is needed for everyone, for that matter, to keep the body and soul active and vibrant. And COVID-19 has really affected people from practicing daily or going to practice fields, practice grounds, and then keeping them up to date and alive. Now, at this moment, we also need to understand how we can cope up with what is happening these days. We need to think about some ways by which we can overcome this limitation and keep ourselves agile and also ourselves fit and ready, especially when we look at it from the point of sports. So I really congratulate the team from St.Claret College who have taken initiative along with Physical Education Foundation of India to organize this webinar on the right topic on strategies of sports training during COVID-19. I also wish all the participants the best of time. We have the best of resource persons to speak to you, to guide you. Make use of this opportunity, learn well, and let us practice it. And at the same time, be safe because the times are not good. COVID is spreading, and then be safe while you practice also. All the best, the team and participants. May God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for that words of encouragement. Participants, a few information to you all. Participants, kindly disable the video and mute audio. Participants, kindly note that your queries can be put in the chat box after the session. Moving on, let me introduce our first eminent speaker, Dr. Y.S. Lakshmi. Sir, being born on a very special day of love, February 14th, His love and passion was completely dedicated towards sports and to bring up sportsmen and women from India into athletics to represent the nation at various levels. Sir has received his doctoral in philosophy in physical education from Bangalore University in the year 1998. NIS diploma in track and field athletics coaching, and Sir completed Masters of Physical Education from Bangalore University. Sir is a recipient of Karnataka State Award as topper in physical education degree. Achieved first rank in Bachelor's of Physical Education, Bangalore University, Bangalore. Sir has authored various books and published various papers and articles on physical education and athletics. Sir has given coaching to various Olympiads in different categories. Sir was working as a coach in Sports Authority of India since 1986. Sir has also served as a national panel coach for sprinters, relay, race and hurdling for Asian Junior Athletic Championship. Sir has done preparation in junior national athletics for IAAF World Junior Athletic Championship for women 4x400 relay team. Sir was a personal coach to Miss Vijay Kumari GK during the Asian Athletic Championship, Bhubaneswar, National Para Athletic Team Coach for Asian Para Games 2018, Jakarta, Indonesia, also imparted training and contributed extensively in preparing of many international and national level athletes at various phases, their trainings right from the foundation stage. Trained over a dozen of international medal-winning athletes, over 60 national level and over 200 state medalists. Presently, Sir is a member of High Power Committee, Kelo India, TID, Government of India, member of Sports Research Advisory Committee, HRD, Government of India, member of Performance Management Committee, Kelo India Scheme, Government of India, member of Core Committee of Coach, SAI, New Delhi. Sir has achieved many laurels in athletics and apart from athletics, played Kho-Kho and basketball for clubs and institutions many years right from school days. Sir, it's our privilege to have you with us as a keynote speaker for the day. We welcome you, sir.
Namaskar.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar. Dear viewers, I am indeed very happy to be a part of this webinar. I congratulate the honorable hosts of this national webinar, in particular, Mr. Srikanth, Secretary of Physical Education Federation of India, Karnataka chapter, and Grandway institution, that is St.Claret College, is hosting this. I congratulate them. Reverend Dr. Sabujar, sport-loving principal of this institution. I congratulate you, sir. Dr. M.D. Muniraju, Director of Physical Education, and all the technicians around this effort. I congratulate them and wish them all the success. Professional friends, as Reverend Father Sabujar revealed, whole world is in the midst of pandemic, COVID, and searching for a solution. The current scenario is worldwide spread of pandemic has caused unfavorable situation to the people of all walks of life, which mankind practiced for ages. Often we hear only quarantine, social distancing, seal down, lockdown, hospitalized, ICU. This is the echoing statements all around. Human race as a social animal is finding it difficult to observe lifestyles, but it is inevitable. Friends, impact of this pandemic on sporting profession, fraternity, I have listed very few things which I want to share is most of the domestic and international sporting activities come to a halt, cancelled or postponed. Olympic Games, Tokyo just spent millions and millions of dollars to host. He is on side chair waiting for favorable time to run the show. Sport professionals' job loss is really a painful situation. Athletes packed off from training centers, national camps, and the institutions of sports training, schools, colleges, and so on and so forth. Organizers, sponsors stepped back. Entire sport fraternity feels doomed. Sports performers are also missing media coverage, publicity, and they are in the feeling of a sort of many, not all, a sort of depression because they feel they are ignored in the society. For the sport lovers are in distress. Yes, our profession is not an exception, friends. But optimism is the way of sportsman's life. We should not forget. COVID-19 days are not long lasting. We will win. Sporting fraternity will win. Humanity will win. And we'll be back in action shortly. That is the optimism which we should carry. We should not be panic. Now, need of this hour, before I speak on some sports training mechanism, sports training system, this time of pandemic, let me tell you, the first and foremost thing is we need not to be panic. Not to be panic. Follow the guidelines and regulations of the government strictly. Use mask, hand wash with soaps, use sanitizers, maintain social distance, avoid sharing kits while training. Keep your personal kit. We will win. We will win. And we'll be back to the action shortly. This is our link. This is our sportsman spirit dialogue. Friends, we know that the anatomy of making a champion is, I have given a small chart of performance parameters which decides the performance and the level an athlete can rise and to be a champion athlete. All around an athlete is aspects of nutrition, physiological parameters, physical parameters, psychological parameters, cognition, that is the learning level, nurturing, genetic, socioeconomic status, and one among this is training, sports training, which I'm going to speak on today in this webinar. Friends, sports training is a process of preparation of sportsperson based on scientific and pedagogical principles for higher performance. It has got the boundaries of certain principles which we need to know. Let us look in basic principles of sports training. There are two simple acronyms to remember. Sport refers to the principles of sporting is S stands for specificity. Every sport requires a specific type of training. P for progression, style, and gradually increase. I'm sorry, there was a sudden technical issue. Can you hear me? Hope things are okay.
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, I was discussing about the basic principles. One specificity I have completed. Every sport requires specific type of training, progression. Yes, start from a level and see that gradually you increase to the higher heights, taking load more and more. Overload is another principles of work harder than normal to create adaptation environment in the body. R is reversibility. This is a matter of continuity in training. Training should be regular, not to allow detraining effects. To maintain whatever we have gained, we have to continue training. Last one is T, stands for tedium. Keep it interesting. Monotony should be kept away. Use varieties of activity. These are all the simple basic principles of sports training. Along with that, how fit is another theory of principles. Fit is how frequently you train, how intensively you train, how many times you train, and how harder you train. These are all the issues. It has to be seen. So keeping all these things in mind, now let us look into the aim of sports training. We have to qualify the principles of training. Under that umbrella, we have to look in what are the aims we can set. Number one, improvement or maintenance of physical fitness is the training first target, that is aim. Whatever you have got, you have to maintain it. For that also you need to train. Whatever you are supposed to achieve, stagger it and see that improvement is done over a period of time. That is progressive increment. That is first aim. Second one is acquisition of motor skills, where we have to improve in a phased manner from grassroots to the elite level. Motor skill acquisition and development is another. Then improvement of technical and tactical efficiency related to specific to the sport chosen. Last one is education and improvement of mental capabilities. It is psycho social environment which you are supposed to look in. These are all the aims of sports training. Let us see the sports training long-term issues. Sports person cannot be created overnight. It's over a period of 10 to 12 years. One child have to work. One athlete will become champion after passing successfully many stages. That is phases of long-term sports training. Why I'm giving input is, at time it is felt that sports persons are created overnight. Now, pandemic time, sports person all will ruin. It is not so. There is a long-term process. It involves many phases. If there is any shortcoming in one phase, that can be, to a greater extent, that can be managed in the next phase of training. It is not that everything is over just because of one pandemic like COVID. So if your foundation is strong, you are for a longer races, you are for a longer span as a sports person. So that's what I wanted to tell. So initialization, that is foundation stage, basic training, build-up training, and high performance training. These are all the phases athletes have to pass through with a different content, different means, simple to complex training system. All those things, all the principles are adapted here to see that a child reaches to a champion podium. Fine. Also, I have just given theoretical frame of long-term structure. Initialization it takes 3 to 4 years in early school age. Later on, basic training 5 to 7 years. Prepubescent during puberty. Build-up training 3 to 4 years. Systematic high-performance training 6 to 10 years in adulthood. These are all the different long-term structures of sports training. And also there are many sensitive phases during this. I have given a chart, 6 to 18 years, lot of parameters, components of fitness have to be trained on this time scale to see child reaches to a higher heights as a healthy citizen, as a champion. So I have given you the list of this. Why I'm showing all these slides is just make you to understand preparation of sports person. Training is not overnight process. It's a long-term process. It involves a lot of the phenomenon movement and changeovers and sensitive phases and different phases of training. Okay, keeping this background, let us talk about present scenario to suggest, what is that basic principles of sports training is affected during COVID-19. What we can do to form a strategy and to suggest alternative system for sports training, it is necessary to analyze whether basic principles of sports training are affected in times of COVID-19 or not. It is not just making a comment because of COVID, we lost performance. It is not so. We have to see which are all the training principles affected, how much it is affected, whether it is affected or not. Looking into the ground reality, we can suggest some alternative method to see that athlete don't lose the developed potentialities within him by using alternate method, modified training system. If yes, if there is an effect on sports training principles due to pandemic, then how much and which training components and parameters need modification is the question. Friends, is a personal view as a coach for 3.5 decades. I have given few jattings in the slide. Sports training principles in times of COVID-19. I have given on left-hand side the normal time. Specificity of the training can be achieved because your play fields are free, all the training facilities are free, all experts all around, and recovery system are working intact. Keeping all those things, it is fine during normal times. Now coming to the COVID-19 time, looking specifically into specificity of training principles, specificity of training is facing difficulties in most of the team games, combat sports, indoor sport, swimming pool activities, etc. It's a few examples. Why? We have to keep social distance. We are not supposed to use swimming pool. We are not supposed to be in indoor conditions, and we cannot go very close to the team member. We cannot make a big group. And particularly in combat sports, wrestling, boxing, and other martial art sport, it is not advisable. Judo, taekwondo, all those things, it is not advisable to, you cannot make a big close contact of an opponent. So this is actually, whereas as far as the individual sport, athletics is concerned, for example, it is not that major issue because here athlete trains individually. There are few hiccups that I'm going to address in the next slide. Next principles of training is a progression in training is the next principle that can go smoothly during normal times. Progression during COVID, progression in training during this period of COVID is also possible in a limited frame in building biomotor abilities, psychomotor abilities, technical and tactical abilities. It cannot be achieved in full for all sports. I agree. Here, few sports are exception where you can address it to the full range. Progression can be addressed in full range, and some of the situation, some of the sport, team sport, tactical abilities are affected. And it is not the time to sit in a corner because I am not in a position to train. No, build yourself, build biomotor abilities, It is very much individual. Build psychomotor abilities, very much individual. And there are few ways and means to train technical and tactical abilities even without a partner in team games. So coming to the next, overload to progress principle, that is overload principle can be achieved again in a limited extent in team sports, athletes, and fully achievable in case of individual sport. You can simply work on. There are many alternate means and methods which can be adapted to see that overload principles is respected to the greater extent. Then reversibility. That's a continuity of training. Yes, if you are willing to train, you can continue training. It is not always in the gym or the play field or the indoor hall or the pool. Even we have got a lot of other means and methods to keep yourself trim and fit. That continuity of training has got some possibility to work out. It is needless. An athlete sit in a corner and I'm not getting anything, so I lose all these things. I'm going away. I'm fading. All those things. It is not always correct in all the cases. So TDM, that is keeping training interesting. There should not be any boring. That is another principles. Yes, indoor also we can do a lot of variation in the training activities, recreational means and methods which we can adapt and see that athlete never gets monotony. It is these principles have to be looked in both on track outside as well as in indoor at home situation. So give variety to break monotony. So this is a nutshell of sports training principles, how it is affected during COVID-19. Next, coming to the keeping these basic principles, respecting these basic principles, the following related motor fitness and conditioning components are trained systematically for future high performance. It is agreed. You have to respect basic principles of training and train different parameters of performance and fitness. Then only you can achieve higher performance. It is obvious. So which are all those parameters? Components: aerobic endurance, strength, flexibility, coordination, speed, psychological preparation, technical and tactical abilities. These are all the list. The scratch to elite performer, these are all the list athlete have to address and looking and to train. So coming to the first part, demand of all different fitness components, whatever I have listed on the left-hand side, it varies from sport to sport. The magnitude of these components are not same in all the sports. Its requirement is different. It has got a different platform for different sports and games. For example, speed demand of a sprinter is much more higher than a marathon runner. So like that, there are a number of examples. So it is on need basis. Trainers have to create program and train them. Now, all these components can be addressed to a greater extent, even in pandemic times. See, even in pandemic times, by using few alternative training means in case of non-availability of modern training equipment, facilities needed, you need not to be distressed. So here, resourcefulness is the key. A coach, a trainee should create a similar stimulus by using what are all the things accessible all around the athlete, all around them. That is the solution. Now, getting on, I can tell you what is that we use during normal time to train all these means of all these parameters of fitness. For example, aerobic endurance, for example, long distance continuous running, interval training, foot leg training on track, road, and there are many gym equipments, all those things they use. Yes, aerobic endurance is addressed. Strength in the gym with own body resistance to harness, to lightweight dumbbells, to medicine ball, to heavyweight barbell sets. Yes, speed, high speed frequency drills, speed activation through minor games, leg speed, hand speed, quick agility, quickness, all those things is a set of activities during normal time. Yes, flexibility, we use static dynamic PNF stretching on ground, gym, and wherever a floor is available. Yes, coordination is variety of coordination drills, high hand, hand, leg eye, forward, upper body to lower body, left to right, front to back. So many exercises, coordination drills we do, and psychological preparation is a focus, attention, autogenic feedback, imagery, and motivation, self-motivation, confidence building, all those preparations we do. And technical and tactical is on the ground. Skill development, basic to elite level, we focus on minute movement to the elite level movement. Everything is sharply learned, and mastering of skill on and off the ground is very, very important here. So now all these things, earlier slide says what we do on these components, respecting the principles of sports training. Yes, now let us talk about what is that alternative training means and methods that we can be adapted in times of pandemic COVID-19. For example, aerobic endurance training. Normal times I have already talked, but still I have listed. We have got a lot of training regimens on track, road, cross-country path, gym, treadmill, use. So many means of training is there with varied methods, continuous method, repetition method, interval method, extensive interval, intensive interval, felt like so many things in normal times. But during COVID-19, alternative means you have to confine to a lockdown situation. Now, what is the way out? It is simple. Keep the track of your training heart rate and volume and intensity of training. You can use alternate means of step ups, spot running, staircases, aerobic dance, home station, stationary bicycles, treadmill, cross trainer, stepper, rope skipping, on spot running. So many ways and means which you can adapt. Only thing, you have to care the floor, you have to care the shoes. Once that is done, you can match invariably the field training abilities. You can optimize the effect, keeping track of heart rate and duration of the activity and the intensity. So next, coming to the strength ability. Gym with all ranges of resistance training equipments are available in the gym. But during COVID, it is heard there is no gym, gyms are closed. Then what is the alternative? Use your own body resistance, home gyms, elastic bands, use plyometric exercises, harness belts, etc. It's important to know that use static strength exercises in abundance. It is possible. With that, we can maintain the quality of strength. There are the variation, explosive strength, maximum strength, strength endurance, all those things. But through this alternate method, to a greater extent, we can address the requirement. We can train. So flexibility is another ability which you are supposed to care. It is a fast perishable quality in human body, so it requires repeated drill. So here, normal times, floors, standing series, exercise, static, ballistic, so many things are available to improve the flexibility. Same thing, it is not much affected it can be done in an open space inside the home or on the terrace, wherever it is. It requires very small space. No gym is required. Indoor space is not required. It can be trained in a small space. Only here, PNF with a partner is not advisable. So instead, you can keep yoga asanas. It is the best means of keeping body flexible. Next part is the speed ability. On track, we train with many reaction ability, speed, different form of speed, reaction ability, acceleration ability, locomotor ability, speed endurance. These are the different form of speed on track. Now, if you don't have field, if you don't have track, no need to be panic. Confined to speed frequency drills, preferably on spot or at a smaller area to match differences, different form of speed ability with variation in effort. That is ranging from 4 seconds to 30 seconds activities with high speed frequency, with simulation of arm, leg movement will help to keep the speed ability in optimum level. And it is not that difficult compared to endurance and strength. Development of speed ability is not that difficult. With a shorter span of 3 to 5 weeks, we can pick the speed. Fine. Coming to the coordination, varieties of coordination drills on normal times we do on ground, play field, gym, etc. Now again, our cry during pandemic is we don't have gym and playing it, but this can be performed in a smaller space. Need not to be panic. Even at home, hand-eye coordination, leg-eye coordination in a small room, we can practice. And left, right, front, back, agile movement, all these things can be practiced in a smaller this thing. That means coordination, speedability, flexibility is not much affected. So no psychological component. It is again using laboratory expert. We used to train autogenic feedback system, imagery, resonance, and reaction time, etc., etc. But now, yes, there may not be any laboratory, but similar psychological parameters can be trained at home. It is only an absence of established gym outside, inside your home or on terrace, you can do workout. Now coming to the technical ability, from basics to elite level is taught on the normal times and ground. Now technical abilities during this COVID of an individual sport event can be trained without much deviation, because single athlete working on track is not a problem. Keeping social distance, even trainer can stand. Social distance have to be maintained. That's very, very important. But team games suffer to an extent here. Adapt few alternatives like ball game. In case of ball games, there are pitching machines, there are ball throwing machines, shuttle throwing machines. Combat sport, people cannot fight hand to hand, so they can use dummies, pyramid instead of partners, and these are all some of the changes you can bring in and see that training goes on. And it is not the time to say, I don't have this, I cannot improve, I cannot do, not that. And before I say thank you, I first slide itself, I said job loss. Many professionals, they are finding it very, very difficult to stick on, because the schools, institutions are closed. They are not getting their pocket regularly now, and there are no trainees around. So they are finding it very, very difficult to manage themselves. But these are all for a very small time, my dear professional friends. Don't lose heart. Days are soon, it will become all right. We will fight against this pandemic, and sportsman spirit is the best of the world, and we maintain ourselves, we keep calm, we stand strong and get fit yourself and stay fit everywhere. Don't feel that we cannot train anything, any of this fitness parameters during pandemic. Never you feel that. And everything is possible with resourcefulness, and what is accessible around you, see that it is made use of for the training. With this, once again, I thank the organizers hosting this webinar, national level. I thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Mr. Jerome. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It was a wonderful session indeed, sir. Like there was a lot of points covered during your session. And I'm for sure everyone who is there during this particular session is being benefited a lot. And for sure they would take that into practice during this pandemic situation. And moving on to the question and answer session.
Yeah, please.
Participants, if there is any questions that you want to ask, kindly put it up in the chat box. So there was one question.
Yeah, please.
How far games specific warm-ups will help students during this pandemic? It was being asked by Janardhan, from a physical education director from Andhra Pradesh. How far game specific warm-up will help students during this pandemic?
It is a question can be answered like this. Whatever the activity which you do, prefix to that, any specific drill you do, prefix to that, you have to activate your activity level, like aerobic movement, flexibility movement, mobility movement, and little of coordination movement. Yes, every exercise has got its own contribution to the general health of an individual. If you ask me this question, why it is only specific exercise of a game? Why not a game start with general preparation? And the question what you are asking is not very clear to me. I require little more detailed questioning. Which exercise of what specific sport you are asking for? That is not very clear, but still every exercise, if it is done properly, has got positive effect on well-being of an athlete. That much I can answer you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir was not specific about it, but then he is generally asked about, in general, any specific games, if ever any warm-ups is being done for that. But during this pandemic, how was it being dealt? I think your answer was good enough, though, because he was not specific over the game. So the next question, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, how many days we need to do intensity workout in a week? It was being asked by Avinash Singh Rathod.
Oh, again, it is a question. What is that activity? Is it aerobic, anaerobic? In that anaerobic, lactic or lactic has to be specified. Every regiment, every mode of exercise has got volume and intensity. It has to be clearly understood. Now, aerobic intensities are always low comparison with anaerobic lactic training. Now, you have asked me a general question talking about intensities. I can answer like this. Aerobic can be used for development and maintenance of one's fitness, cardiorespiratory fitness. At the same time, that can be used as a recovery protocol for anaerobic lactic and anaerobic lactic training programs. That means aerobic training can be repeated if it is for health fitness thrice a week, if it is for competitive sport, if it is endurance type, then in the preparation it is 4 days a week, and towards competition it will be taper after 2 to 3 sessions on aerobic endurance. If it comes to the anaerobic lactate, you are not supposed to repeat training session of anaerobic lactate in less than 48 hours. It is not advisable. For children, even 72 hours gap recovery is required. If it is, you talk about anaerobic lactic, that can be again repeated once in 48 hours. Even after 36 hours, it is okay. Should be combined with the aerobic session so that recovery system will work. So, speaking in a vague manner, without knowing the level of the athlete is a bit difficult, but general frame is aerobic can be repeated thrice a week for health. Anaerobic lactic can be done twice a week. Even for beginner, this is not an area to touch. There should not be any anaerobic lactic activity for beginners in early ages. It is very, very painful. Most of the athletes they avoid, they go away because of the hardship of the training. Injury possibilities are there for the young children. So keep 48 hours to an elite athlete recovery pattern. And anaerobic lactic, yes, 36 hours to 48 hours recovery is because this itself has got less than 70% intensity for aerobic, less than 95% intensity for anaerobic lactic, and 95% and above for anaerobic lactic intensity level. That is the reason this prescription I have given to you. Thank you.
So one last question. There was,
Yes,
what are the activities that could be suggested for children between the age of 6 to 15?
Repeat, please.
What are the kind of training activities that could be given for children between the age of 6 to 15 during this pandemic situation?
Yes. One thing, there are many no's because they cannot come out, they cannot play in a group. All those things, I have already held what should be avoided during pandemic. So keeping those boundaries intact, I always advise younger age children, 6, 7, 8, 9, to be playful at home with varieties of activity which engage them, their neuromuscular coordination. It is less trainable in later stage. Speed frequency activities, which is less trainable in the later ages, and activity of mind game, you say, that can be played in a smaller places inside home right now, that type of activity. But variety is key here. You should not put them into boredom by giving a lot of regimental training in early ages. It's called fundamental early ages. Fundamental. Their mind should feel happy. There must be fun in the activity. That's the stage you have to address. Up to 9, 10 years, you can think of that. Later on starts their basic training age. Basic training age, before you put the child into a basic training program of a particular sport, you have to take stock of level of their motor abilities as on date, because that is the age you start tracking whether they are speed type, are they useful for speed activity, are they are endurance type, are they useful for endurance activity, or strength type where strength dominant activities can be made. So small tracking starts at that age. So keeping that in mind, not applying super specialty training, lot of varieties plus basic movement initialization to the potential which they have got to be for tomorrow's sport arena. That has to be taken care of. Are you getting it? Once that is over, next comes the initial specialization to advance. That is age of 13. Some of the sport specialization starts early. Some of the sport, for example, gymnastics, swimming specialization starts at the age of 8, super specialty. But whereas some of the sport, it takes a longer time, like marathon, all those things. You cannot talk in one cluster because it has got a wide range of activity, wide range of application of exercises. So after that age, you have to put them into a specific frame of no activity training. So slowly you are putting them from simple, general, fun driven exercise to an exercise of specialization. That is the changes from age to age. Whatever exercises you prescribe the age of 15, 16, a high school or plus 2 is not okay for a child of primary education, that is standard 1 to standard 5. That has to be taken care of. That is all no age versus fun, enjoyment, and slowly towards the serious training to create a champion within them. It is not at once. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think you've answered the questions, whatever was being mentioned. And your session was indeed a real valuable one during this pandemic situation. You spoke about the various principles of sports and then about the various punctualities that has to be followed, the major fitness components, sports training principles during this COVID-19. All these were something which every physical education director or even a common person should be knowing during this pandemic situation. And for sure, all the points that you have given forward would be considered and taken effectively by the various physical education directors which are there as participants during this session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Once again, I congratulate the whole team. Keep doing this type of webinars. Wish you all the best. God bless. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. So moving on to the second session, we have another great personality, S. Sutakar, a martial art and sports enthusiast with passion, knowledge, professional learning, and experience in the field of sports, especially Sillambam and handball. Internationally, Sir was the coach for Indian team Sillambam for the first South Asian Sillambam Championship tournament held at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Trainees were under Sir's team was selected, securing 5 gold medals. Sir was a coach of Indian team for the first Asian level Sillambam competition held at Kanyakumari and took 11 students, and they secured 4 gold medals, 5 silver medals, and 7 bronze medals. Under the national level, Sir was the coach for Karpagam University handball team for South Zone Inter-University Handball Tournament at Bangalore North University and All India Inter-University Handball Tournament and secured silver medal. Sir also trained for All Indian Championships 2017 held at Goa and was nominated as Joint Technical Director for the first School National Championship tournament conducted by School Game Federation of India. Sir was also nominated as a Technical Council Chairman for the first National Sillambam Championship Tournament 2014, which was held at Patna, Bihar. Sir was a resource person in SGFI, National Orientation Training Program for Sillambam, and also was invited as a Sillambam coach for CRPF Army team. Under Sir's assistance, 8 handball players represented Tamil Nadu for 3 Federation Cup handball tournaments held at Goa, and 11 handball players represented Tamil Nadu for All India Championship held at New Delhi, secured gold medal. Sir has also organized various games of different level. To talk about Sir's educational streams, Sir has completed his PhD, Masters of Physical Education, Bachelors of Physical Education from Bhartidhar University, Coimbatore. Also done PG Diploma in Fitness Management, PG Diploma in Yoga Education from Bhartidhar University, MSc Yoga from Karpagam University, Coimbatore. Sir has various papers published at international level, national level, and Scopus. Sir has also guided many PhD scholars and was invited as special lecturer on research methodology. Later in the year 2006, was nominated as chairperson for Constitution of Sports Committee at Karpagam University. Sir has represented India Sillambam team for second World Sillambam Championship tournament held at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and secured gold medal. Tamil Nadu and Puducherry State Inter-Physical Education Handball Tournament runners, which was held at Annamalai University. Sir, it is a privilege to have you with us as a keynote speaker today. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Over to you, sir.
It's audible now?
Yes, sir.
Most respected principal, management of St.Claret College, and organizer, and respected the resource person, Dr. Lakshmi sir, Indian coach of athletics, and my dear friends in the field of physical education. A very good morning to all of you. It's a great opportunity and privilege to present this webinar on strategies and management of sports training amidst in this COVID pandemic. First of all, I would like to thank the management of St.Claret College for providing this opportunity to present this national webinar on strategies of sports training. And also, I thank the respected Srikant sir, Secretary of Physical Education Foundation of India, Karnataka chapter, the young and energetic personality in the field of physical education, a dynamic and eminent motivator who invited me as a resource person in this webinar. On this occasion, I would like to thank the sir. And also I thank that organizing committee, Dr. Shabu Judge, Principal of St.Claret College. He has taken a good effort in this pandemic situation and organized this national webinar. Thank you, sir. And also I thank Dr. Muniraju, convener of this webinar and Director of Physical Education, St.Claret College, a good researcher and sports enthusiastic personality and his good initiative. He's taken effort and conduct this webinar. And also I thank his colleagues and the technical members who supported to conduct this webinar. Thank you all. So here I'm to present the management and strategies of sports training. So
Sir,
we are all, ma'am, you're
sir,
audible.
could you make it the full screen, sir, because it's still minimized screen which is
Okay,
appearing. You can put it on slideshow.
right?
Yes, sir. And one small announcement before you start off with the session. Participants, kindly note the feedback form link will be sent to you all after the session. So kindly not drop the message about the feedback form. So you can continue, sir.
Okay. The management of sports management. What it is the sports management? It involves the combination of skills related to planning, organizing, directing, controlling, budgeting, leading, and evaluating their contest of an organization or a department wise primary product or service is related to sports or physical activity. So, as a sports trainer, carry out those skills in a variety of organizational settings like college sports, professional sports, amateur sports, including Olympic sports marketing and management firms, that it is sports communications and news media firms. Everything he need to concentrate. So, depending upon the work situation, a person who chosen to coach may also be involved in administrative duties such as budget management, ordering of equipment, schedule, risk management, these are. The coaches might also assume in the role of an entrepreneur. A player may involved in the recruitment of scouting of athletes. So as a coach, if he going to train an athlete, he need to collect all the materials from the management or that organizing part. So he can select all those things by own, whatever things he needed, he can select by his own, and he can get a quality materials for teaching and evaluating process. So the next one is coaching. The coaching means it involves the teaching and training one individuals or a team in the preparation of athletic competitions. Usually involved in coaching one specific sports, that coach assumes many different roles. The coach acts as a teacher when the player is involved in the teaching of sports skills and technical performance, like game decision making, as well as the teaching of cardiovascular, muscular strength, flexibility training that is needed for an athlete to perform an optimum level. So this includes, but not exclusive to, factors such as sports nutrition, hydrogens, performance, physiology, and selection of core of proper equipment. So the coaches act as a psychologist when the player is involved in that, mentoring athletes about the competitive stress, motivations, goal setting, time management skills, and psychological preparation. In psychological level, that coach have to identify the player's mentality, how he is able to do that activity during the game situations, what way he is going to execute the skills, everything he to analyze, that coach duty. So for that, the coaches have to know about kinesiology. So kinesiology movement, it deals with the study of human body analysis. So study of human body analysis. Immediate and long-term effect of physical activities of human body is called as kinesiology. So while doing this, how and why the human body responds to the physical activities also focused. So the field of study, the exercise science is very diverse and include several areas of queries. The two areas of queries of individual interest in the field of include sports performance and health related components of physical activity. So in that health-related components of physical activity is having researched, and need for further research is prominent because of that obesity and epidemic, the lack of physical activity of children. The sports performance of the children's, young adult and older adults involves the biomechanical analysis. So in that biomechanical analysis, the science movement involving the movement of science living body, including how the muscles and tendons and ligaments are working together to produce the movements. So the biomechanics is a part of the large field of kinesiology, especially focusing on the mechanism of the movements. So we have to analyze the movement mechanism. The coach must know about that body analysis and biomechanical analysis while teaching the player or athlete. So psychosocial analysis of the sports, as well as the nutrition and physiological analysis also, the coach have to concentrate. So what he is going to give, what type of nutrition is needed for the player or athlete. So psychological aspect also, he need to analyze his stress, anxiety, anger, everything he need to analyze by giving the training. So for that, kinesiology and biomechanicals, some scientific basis of sports performance we have to analyze. That one is called plans of motion. So plans of motion, what it is the plans of motion? There are 3 plans of motions which we move. Here we explain frontal, transverse and sagittal plans, as well as that anatomical position, how it is. So we have to analyze by the coaches. The terminology is prominently used by that sports scientists and medical professionals to describe how the body is moved. In this occasion, if you think about it, the most of our movements are not straight up and down or side to side, etc., especially sports. They tended to combine the mixture of movements in the different plans. So how the sagittal plans will be worked? Pass through the body, front to back, to dividing into the left or right, and the movements in these plans are up and down movements, that flexion and extension. So I have seen the sagittal plan. So sagittal plans, flexion and extension movement. That next one is frontal plan. Frontal plans, it divides the body into front and back. The movements in these plans are sideways movements called abduction and adduction. So abduction and adduction movements. The next one is transfer plans. The transfer plans, it divides the body into top and bottom. Transfer plans means horizontal plans, that also called. And top and bottom, that rotational nature, such as internal rotation and external rotations, pronation and supination position. These are all the transfer plans. So the next one is anatomical positions. With this, in the terminology of medical field, anatomical positions or neutral position is the starting positions for describing any movements. It is important that you know this to be able to understand what is mean by certain movements patterns. It's sometimes also called anatomical starting positions or fundamental starting positions. This anatomical neutrals is standing upright, legs together and knees straight, toes pointing straight forward, and arms by side and facing forward. So with this, how the body is moved, we have to see the joint actions. For joint actions, flexion and extension. While contracting the muscles, the flexions, and relaxing the muscles, it's called extensions. So the movement is flexion and extension is sagittal plan, which is decreasing the angle at the movement joint. The extension is opposite movement, which increasing that angle joint many types of synovial joints are capable of flexion and extension, like hinge joint, ball and socket joint, saddle joint, condyloid joint, including the shoulder, elbow, wrist, hip, and knee. The shoulder flexion is the actions of raising the arm above the head is called flexion, and extension is the downward movements, the shoulder in that expanded positions. So while if you are raising your hand up, this is flexion, and if you are raising your arm down, this is extension. If you are in your knee position, also flexion and extension. Like that, we can do it. For knee joint, has seen this video flexion. If you are hold your knee, that is called flexion. If you are extend your knee, that is extension. So this movement is very much essential while giving the sports training. That next one is abduction and adduction. These are the movements in that frontal plan is involving the movement of the body part always to an imaginary center line. That abduction is the body part away from that center line, and adduction that moving towards the center line. That adduction is can also move the body part across the center line and to the side line of the body amongst the joint capable of that abduction and adduction or shoulder or hip. That abduction and adduction, the movements include the fingers also. We'll see this is the finger. So this is called center line. This is abduction and adduction. So from your fingers also we can see this abduction and adduction movements. The next one is abduction in the shoulder also. If you are raising your hand, it is abduction. If your hands down, it is adductions. So all the movements, it should be involved in that frontal plans. If you are raising your leg in your sideward, seeing this video, it is called adduction and abduction movement. So next one is rotation movement. How that body is, that rotation movement is involved. We can see this, the transfer plans and include any twisting movement. Twisting movements means the joints with permanent rotations, including the shoulder and hip. These are all the both ball and socket joint rotation movements, ball and socket joints. We can also rotate our neck back due to the series of smaller joint, including that atlantar axial joint, which is in that pivot joint in that neck between that two vertebra C1 and C2 here. This is called rotation movement. This is called rotation. This is not rotation. So this is called circumduction movement. So the rotation on the hip can broken while if you are external or internal rotation. Up to this level, we can our hand we can rotate. If you are going outside of this, that ball and socket joint will dislocate. Usually, kabaddi players have these problems, and volleyball players. All the games it will be. So depend upon their activity, we have to assess the value of the movements, rotations. So next one is circumduction. Circumduction is whole rotations. It is combination of all the movements. It's possible at ball and socket, condyloid and saddle joints such as shoulder, hip, wrist movements, and at angle also. In that wrist movements we can call this is circumduction movements, and rotation also in that leg, ankle we can do it with the rotation movements. The next one is pronation and supination. That is especially movements of the forearm, that angle. So see this, this is called pronation and supination. This is movement we can see in that arms. That movement turning on the form over facing downward is pronation, and supination is opposite movement, turning of form forward. That movements here comes from that proximal radial ulnar joint. The joint just below that elbow between that radius and ulnar bones, which is a pivot joints, allowing the radius to move around that ulna. So here it was, we can see that joints, we can rotate our pronation and supination positions. So at that angle, supination is the movement of turning the sole of the foot inward. Sole of the foot inward. This is sometimes called inversion. The pronation is the movement of turning the sole of foot outward. This is called eversion. You can see sometimes here the people say hand over the pronated foot. Pronated foot means it should be flat foot without arching. That foot should be all should have that arch in their foot. So without arch, that is called pronated or flat foot. So with these joints, we have to concentrate. As a coach, we have to concentrate what are all the movements is available. What way we have to train the peoples like that. The coaches or trainer or physical education teachers, our duty to learn about all these things. While giving the training to that particular persons, we have to analyze each and every movements of that body part. So all the coaches have to know about that biomechanical analysis for preparing the sports activity. So next one is training. So after this analyzing, we can go for the training. What it is the training? Training is the teaching or developing oneself or others. Any skills and knowledge or fitness that related to specific useful for competitions. The training has a specific goal of improving one's capability, capacity, and productivity and performance. So we have to, while preparing a training schedule, the coach have to teach what you are going to teach for the players, and you have to initiate that knowledge about that program of the training to the athlete or player, and that coach have to develop their activity, how you have to do it, the method of teaching, and you have to teach in a right track and learn that players have to learn that particular skills in that proper and scientific manner, and he should get experience in that sports activities, and after that he can execute the skills in that proper way. So after that he can go for the training that will be suitable and adaptable for that athlete. It will avoid the injuries. So the training is very, very essential while giving for the preparing for the protocol of the training plan. So if you are giving the training, you have to analyze the intensity. So the intensity refers how hard your body is working during the physical activity, your health and fitness goals, as well as your current level of fitness will determine your ideal exercise intensity. For athletics, we have to keep it that maximum heart rate. How to we can get that training heart rate? That maximum heart rate equal to 220 minus age. If your age is 20, for example, 220 minus age, 200 is that gradual maximum heart rate for an athlete. So from that maximum heart rate, we can get that training heart rate. Training heart rate, maximum heart rate minus resting heart rate. So resting heart rate, while you are in the rest period, you have to take that resting heart rate. While how to take the resting heart rate? Many methods are there. Heart rate monitor is available recently. We can get it that resting heart rate while in the rest positions. Otherwise, palpitations method or radial pulse rate. Many places we have take that resting heart rate. From that maximum heart rate, if that example resting heart rate is 60, 200 minus 60, 140 is the maximum. The 100% of training heart rate. From the training heart rate, you have to train the player depend upon the training protocol. Depend upon the training protocol, or how you are giving the training, what method you are going to use, what training you are specified for the particular athlete. Like that, you have to fix the intensity, how many repetitions you are going to provide and how many sets you are going to provide for that athlete. Depend upon the capacity and age factors, the coaches have to design the training program and provide the training to the particular athletes. If you are giving the weight training for fixing the intensity, one repetition maximum is advised to fix the intensity. If one repetition maximum is, if you are lifting 100 kgs of weight, maximum, that is called 100% of intensity. So from that, you can fix it 20% or 30% or 40%, depend upon the situations. You can fix the intensity. So if you are know about that intensity, we have to make a training session plan. So training session plan, it is also called a learning plan, is organized descriptions of that activities and resource you will use to guide a group towards the specific learning object. So it deals with subject matter that you will teach, how long each section should be take, the method of instructions for that each topic is covered, and the methods you will use to check that people have to learn what you need to them to learn. So this is the method of preparing the training session. If you are making a training session for 1 year, for 12 weeks, for weekly, how many days if you are going to give the training, how many hours you are going to give the training, how many minutes for warm up and warm down, and whether your plan is visible or for each step of classes. This helps you to ensure you have thought about everything that you need to say, and that you present information in that logical order. So you will also be able to prepare the points that people might to find difficult to understand. So this is your session have to prepare in a systematic and scientific way. That will be helpful to prepare a perfect and scientific training plan, and it will avoid the injury. So it will avoid the injury. So if you are prepared a training plan, so you have to analyze the players' capacity. How to analyze the players' capacity? So for generally, we have a health-related physical fitness components and skill-related fitness components. These are all that health-related components: cardiovascular fitness, muscular endurance, strength, flexibility, and body compositions. And skill-related fitness components like power, speed, agility, coordinations, balance, and reaction time. These are all the fitness components. We can measure it by standardized test. So while going to after preparing the plan, you have to analyze the player's ability, how he is, how can he able to produce, get that knowledge about the training, how can he trained, like that. We have to analyze by standardized test. For testing cardiorespiratory endurance, 12 minutes Cooper run and test, hardware steps, rock sport walk test, and for 1 mile beep test, like that we have to analyze. So cardiorespiratory endurance, it indicates how will our body can supply the energy during the physical activity via the body circulatory and respiratory systems. It activates and that helps to improve the cardiorespiratory endurance, or those that causes the elevated heart rate for that sustained period. So depend upon the situations, after measuring this test, so you can see that how the athlete can capable to do the activity like that. For Hooper test, normally for male 20 to 20 years, if he crossed 1,600 meters in that 400-meter track, he is below average. And if you are crossing for male 2,200 meters, it should be average. If you are crossing above 2,400 meters, it is above average. If you crossed 2,800 meters, it is excellent manner. So depend upon that, you can fix the intensity for the particular training period. So for that, depend upon the situation, we can train the players. So in that pandemic situations, how we can give the training to develop the cardio respiratory endurance. So we can provide we can prepare the training plan to develop the cardio respiratory endurance. We can provide aerobic exercise like basic steps, corner kick, corner knee, repeated knee, T steps, over the top launches, V steps, saddle down, L steps, split steps, I steps. These are all that aerobics activities. We can do it in that home itself. In that lockdown period, the coaches, you can advise your players or athlete to develop the cardio respiratory endurance by doing like this type of activities. From the home itself, if you are having the cycles, you can rotate the cycles. If you are put the stand and rotate the cycles, so you have to fix the intensity and duration of the time, how much you have to do it, how long you have to do it, rest how many hours you have to give for preparing the training activity, what aerobic steps if you are going to provide, what steps you are going to prepare it, and marching also you can provide it. Marching, standing marching from the home itself, 10 into 10 square feet is enough to do that aerobic activities. And also if you're having the staircase in your home, you can do the step activities in the staircase. So it will develop that aerobic steps. If you are having in their home steps, that also it will be useful to do that step aerobics, while hardware steps like that 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depend upon the player's capacity, player's ability, and age factors, that coaches can recommend these type of aerobic activities from the home itself. They can develop the cardiac efficiency and cardiorespiratory endurance. So next one is muscular strength. So muscular strength, for many tests are there. Few standardized tests I have given here: one arm bench press test and one arm squat and deadlift repetitions maximums and lat pull down one arm test, push-ups fitness test like this. We can provide for developing the muscular strength. So muscular strength, the amount of the force that can be produced in a single contraction of muscles is called muscular strength. The maximum contraction, the amount of the force how you are applying, that is called muscular strength. It is important to strong and power through the sports movement sustain a physical hit and avoid injury. So from the home itself, how can we provide the muscular strength activities? So these are all that exercise from the home itself we can provide. From the home, if you are having the wet grinder in your home, that wet grinder stones, if you are picking up the stones and you can do that activities, you have to analyze how much weight it is. Then from there itself you can lift it, that weight and repetitions, and you can get advice from the coaches and trainers in that particular part of lifting the weights. And if you are having the pot in your home, you can fill the water in that pot and you can lift it, how much repetition you have to do, and you have to give rest how many times, and set how many sets you have to do it. That are also what are all the materials available in your home you can lift. If you are having a bed, cot, from the cot itself you can do it with that tips workout, and if you are having the chairs you can do it with that tip workouts. Like that you can develop and you can insert the players to do the regular activity. Half squat, it will be very useful for developing the quadriceps muscles and hamstrings muscles. And also incline push-ups, decline push-ups, flat push-ups, that also will develop that shoulder strength and pectoralis major and pectoralis minor muscles, and also back muscles also. So depend upon the situations, you can provide the activities. Any activities you can provide. So the coach, as your coach, you have to design the training program from the home itself. They can do these activities. It will be very useful while after the lockdown. They are in the fitness level, so after you can implement the training protocol and they can easily understand and easily they can adapt for your training programs. So these are all that exercise. Only I have given you some examples like this type of activities, like this type of strengthening exercise. You can advise your athlete to develop the muscular strength. So next one is flexibility. How to develop the flexibility? The flexibility is the range of movements across the joint. The flexibility is important because it improves that ability to link the movement together smoothly and can help to prevent injuries. So flexibility is specific to each joints and depend on that number of variables including tightness of ligaments and tendons. So it increases the various activities, all designs to stretch joints, ligaments and tendons. There are three types of exercise that are generally utilized to increase the flexibility. What are all the activities we can provide to develop the flexibility? So dynamic stretching, static active stretching, ballistic stretching, these are all that activity we can provide. The dynamic stretching, the ability to complete full range of motions in that particular joint. This type of flexibility is used to give for warm up. During that warm up time, we can provide a dynamic stretching. So this dynamic stretching, it will be relax the joints and relax the muscles. So after that dynamic stretching, if you are prepared for a training session, we can go for that mobility exercise, and after that we can go for proper preparation training program. So this way we can develop the flexibility movement. So how we have to measure the flexibility? So for measuring the flexibility, sit and reach test is there, and for goniometer, the joint flexibility range of motions we can measure it. So the flexibility is the range of movement across the joint. The flexibility is important because it is improve the ability to link the movements together smoothly, and it can help to prevent from the injuries. So flexibility is specific to each joint and depend on their variables including tightness of ligaments, tendons. So the flexibility measurements include flexion extension movements, and no general test that is available that provides respective values total body flexibility, and tests are specific to each joints and muscles groups and area of contracting the tissues. So because the flexibility is joint specific to measure the joint specific, determining the range of motions of few joints does not necessary to provide an indicator of flexibility in other joints. The most accurate tests of flexibility are those in which goniometer is used to measure the actual degrees of rotations of that various joints. That a goniometer is a product type of instrument used to measure the joint angles at both extremes in the total range of movements. So these are all that method we can measure the flexibility for know about that level of that athlete. So how he is able to do the physical activity and what way we can provide the training like that. Depend upon their results, we can develop the physical activity. So next one is muscular endurance. So muscular endurance, the fitness can include the ability of the muscles to continue existing force without tired. They mentioned about strengthening and building the bigger muscles. That endurance training, it does not necessary to generate the muscles in that larger size. So if it is develop the larger size, we can go for that muscular strength. So we no need to go for develop that large size of the muscles. So we have to focus our body to for that cardiovascular system. So ensuring that muscles of that cardiovascular systems. So muscle endurance. We are going to see that muscle endurance. The muscles receive that oxygenated blood. They need to keep functioning. That another important changes in the muscles that are specially trained for that endurance concern that different type of muscle tissues, that is called fast twitch muscle fiber and slow twitch muscle fiber. Fast twitch means contact quickly but get tired quickly. That slow twitch fiber is best for that endurance, can carry out task without getting tired. That is called core muscles. It should be core muscles. We have to concentrate for the core muscles. For how to see that muscular endurance, how the muscular endurance. For that, we can see that sit-ups test and APF sit-ups test. That is Army physical fitness test. It should be in that US Army they will use, and Euro sit-up test, and many tests are there. Depend upon their situations, we can provide. We can test the players and we can provide that muscular endurance activities. What are all the muscular endurance activities we are going to provide? Sir, for developing the core muscles. So core muscles. So we have to concentrate in that home. We have provide the core activities. It is the core muscle is that center of gravity of the body. It is equilibrium. Our body is center point. Navel point is that core muscles is involved. So it should be made up of many muscles, including rectus abdominis, and what you are thinking of when you think abs, transverse abdominis, and deepest internal core muscles that wrap around your side and spine, erector spines, a set of muscles in your lower back, and that internal and external obliques, the muscles on the side of your abdomen. Since various combination of those muscles are involved in the so many different exercises, you don't have to be doing this that target one specific area like sit-ups to change those muscles. So developing the core muscles, it is involving all that muscle groups. So inside and outside, internal obliques and external obliques, these all the muscles how we have to develop. So we have to give the core activity, core muscle group of training from the home itself. These are all the simple exercise for developing the core activity. The first one is plank. How we have to give the plank, holding the plank positions. That is the strength and endurance of your abs and back and core. The Plank is one of the best exercise for core conditionings, but it works your gluteus and hamstring also, supporting proper posture and improves the balance. While doing that plank, it improves the balance, and also it can be hold in the proper plank positions. Uh, you have to fix the time and how long you have to hold that core muscles for plank workout, like that. So next one is panther shoulder tap. This is also one of the good exercise for bear crawl positions, and also it is a dynamic and challenging workout while doing. If it is, you have to lift the knee and alternate. You have to, while doing that, if you are near lifting your, if you touch your right shoulder, you have to lift your left knee. If you are lifting your left shoulder, you have to lift your right knee, like that you have seen in the pictures. The next one is butterfly sit-ups. So butterfly, putting your legs on the butterfly positions, eliminate the positions and opinions to use the hip flexor, and basically forcing good form. It is also modify the directions how you have to do it. So depend upon their situations, you have to prepare for that butterfly sit-ups positions. Then next one is dead bug. The dead bug, this is the greater force connecting your mind and your core. So mind and your core, you have to, while doing your this dead bug core exercise, you have to concentrate more. Otherwise, you cannot able to do these activities. So all encompassing exercise, and you are not going to feel the burning sensations, but that not always better. This sort of connector is just as yet important for that creating that deep core muscle strength. So this will be very advisable to concentrate your optimum level. Then next one is half knee wood cup, half knee wood chop. This is also wood chop because it should be requires your work in that transfer plant, which many people do not train it. So it is incredible function as well as and work your oblique and transverse abdominis and lats, shoulders, and more activities. So next one is high boat and low boat. So high boat and low boat. This exercise is strengthen that hip flexor and erector spine, which runs up and down both sides of spine, and the rectus abdominis. It always challenging, and that it what keep me interested in that engaged questions. So next one is body shaw. This is the favorite core exercise because it builds both core strength and stability. The next one is side bend. So side bend, this exercise activate the deep core muscles of the oblique. The bonus with this one is you also work the arms and back. So you can concentrate for this for developing that oblique muscles and arms also. So next one is jackknife. This is a core exercise to complete the core muscles. It should be utilize all your core muscles group, and to do it is and stay stabilized throughout that body. So next one is hollow body rack. Hollow body rack. This is a simple method, but it should be involved entire core. It should be involved entire core muscles, including rectus abdominis, transverse abdominis, and obliques. These all muscles will be included. So next one is U curve. This is an isometric hold. It is isometric hold. You have to hold on that particular curve positions. It is like a sit-up. So it should be very useful. You have to hold that positions. You have to concentrate on that holding positions. Depend upon their capacity. The next one is leg raise. Leg raise. This exercise, it should be developed at lower abdominal area, and it is also great exercise to strengthen and lengthen the hip flexor, which play a vital role in the core stability and strength. It is going to help your hip mobility, which will help with all different areas of your fitness journey and just strengthening of your abs. The next one is raw your boat. This a plank with shoulder tap is one of the favorite core exercise because it brings a variety and challenging the regular plank. It is a difficult exercise to execute, and if done right without rocking your hip, it has high impact on the core engagement coming from the different angles, and as you switch your side your tap from. So next one is hip tip. These movements, it helps to tighten and strengthen the transverse abdominis and obliques, which will help to strengthen the support the entire core muscles. These are all the core workout exercise. From the home itself, we can advise your athlete or players to regularly and daily basis also. For it always maintaining the stability and equilibrium of the body. The next one, power workout. So power means the ability to produce the maximum force in that shorter time is called power. So what are all the power exercise you have to recommend for your players? Only I have given few exercise for developing the power workout. For plyometric training, should develop the muscular power. So the first one is burpee exercise. So while doing the burpee exercise, your explosive movement will be involved. The next one is rolling with jump. While jump and rolling behind that, in that flat foot itself, we can perform these activities. And reverse launch with knee up. So yeah, while you are lifting your leg up, it should be involved in that hamstring muscles and also your calves muscles. And next one is quad thruster. Quad thruster, this also you can provide, and you can give it for your students to develop their power workout. And launching, leg extension with the knee, and long jump with squat exercise, that also will develop that explosive movement power. And glabs push-ups, then it should be strength, develop the strength and as well as the explosive power. And knee squat, while in that bending your knee position and jump and squat, and high knee exercises, and step up large, and many step exercises. If you are having the staircase, alternate leg jump, alternate both leg jump, both sideward leg jump, like that. Many plyometric activities from the home that athlete can perform these activities. That coaches can advise your players to develop the power, muscular power, for giving like this type of plyometric activities and plyometric trainings. The next one is standard test for seeing that power, vertical jump, standing board jump test, and speed, 50-meter dash and 30-meter dash. For agility, shuttle run test, T agility test, and Illinois agility test. For coordination, hand-eye coordination test, and for reaction time, and ruler drop test, and Benny cup test, and balance, and one leg balances and standing balances. These are all that skill related components. So we can measure the player's ability, and we can already, if you are tested your players, depend upon their players capacity, you can design the program in their home itself. So for speed, the ability to propel the body or a part of the body rapidly force one point to another point is called speed. Many, if not most sports and activities requires bursts of speed at some point. That agility, the ability to change the body position is called agility. How you have to react, that is called agility. And the next one is coordinations, balance, and reaction time. So I have given for coordination movement one video clips just for your view. So basically, coordination is involving all the movements. So it is very much essential how to give coordination training from the home itself. If you are having the four corners, you have to keep any things, and you can take and pick up and ask them to throw the ball. You have to catch and you can leave it the ball, and you have to concentrate all these things, hand, eye, everything you have to coordinate. Body, total body you have to coordinate while doing this activity. You have to concentrate more about this physical activity. So these are all that activity from the home itself you can practice and you can train it. You can advise your athlete to perform from the home to develop their physiological and psychological aspects. They can develop and give more exercise to maintain the physical fitness. So thank you once again. It's a great opportunity for me to present this session. I think you have useful for everyone. If you have any questions, you can raise it.
Thank you, sir. So there's a few questions, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
First one is, during this pandemic situation, when we do workouts, to be specific, whether it is about cycling or walking or jogging, should we use mask as a preventive measure, or what are the effects?
So in the pandemic situations, we cannot provide that approximate level of training to the particular persons, because from the coaches they can initiate to do the activities from the home. The players, how he is doing, how he is performing, it's very difficult to monitor the particular persons in their training methodology. So he can advise the coaches to practice by video conferencing. It will be very useful to analyze and execute the skills in the proper way.
Sir, to be a little more specific, can I ask you, can we use mask? Like now, if ever I'm going for jogging or if I'm going for cycling as such, can I use mask? Or is it that I should not be using mask because it's a kind of interruption, or our breath also would be on a controlled scale, right? So should we use mask or should we not use mask?
No need to use mask. If you are using the mask, you are practicing all these activities in your home itself. So from your family members only available in the for practicing all these activities in the home. If you are putting the mask, it will be very difficult to breathe. It will make a problem. It will make injury also. No need to use the mask because you are inside your home. You are practicing all these activities. No need to use the mask.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question from Divyashri. Sir, why injury occurs to the back ligaments or disc when improperly lifting an object from a full hip flexion position?
A good question.
I'll repeat, sir.
Yes, yes.
Injury occurs to the back ligaments or disc when improperly lifting an object from a full hip flexion position.
Yeah. If you are lifting overweight, it will make injured. So you have to know about your capacity, and while lifting the weight, you have to balance and you have to analyze what way you have to lift the weight. So that will be very useful if you are analyzed your capacity. That's why I have given that in the slides, that intensity, how your body is capable, what way your body is able to lift the weight, how much amount of weight you can able to lift. That should be, you have to analyze personally, and depend upon their situations and advised by the coaches, you have to lift the weight, so it can avoid the injuries. Any other?
Next question. I think there's the last two questions, sir.
Yes.
One is from Ms. Rajeshwari. What fitness aspect needs to be practiced more to increase?
So for increasing immunity, cardiovascular endurance. For aerobic activity, so that coronavirus, it is affected the lungs. So it causes of breathing problem. It's occurred breathing problem only. It's affected by all the peoples. So we have to develop the lung capacity. For how to develop the lung capacity, while doing the cardiac workouts, it will automatically increase the cardiac efficiency. So if it is increasing the cardiac efficiency, that lung level will be increased. Your respiratory system will be increased. So you cannot affect by that corona issues. So you can develop, if you are doing physical cardiorespiratory workouts and like cycling, aerobic exercise, and jogging or walking from the home itself, we can do it the practice. For yoga, if you are doing breathing exercise, anuloma viloma pranayama, bhastrika pranayama, kapalabhati pranayama, and brahmari pranayama, these are all the pranayamas. It will develop the cardiac endurance. So you can practice from the home itself. Not only a sportsman, all the peoples can do the physical activity, like developing that doing that aerobic activities. It can prevent from the injuries and prevent from the diseases.
So one last question, sir.
Yes.
What kind of aerobic or anaerobic activities is advisable for this pandemic?
For anaerobic activity is not necessary. Depend upon the situations of the game, we have to concentrate. in the pandemic situations, because we cannot able to go outside of our home. So we have to maintain common and general fitness. So what kind of general fitness we needed? So cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, power. These are a common general fitness. It will be useful to develop the general fitness. So it will be after, if you are maintaining, advised by the coaches, if you are doing this type of activity after the lockdown, the players can maintain their fitness, and after then they can adapt for their coaches training schedules.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that very informative session, sir. And your session included a lot of exercise activities and lot of push-ups and pull-ups, whatever is to be done. Every part of the body was being concentrated during your talk over what should be done and what should not be done. Thank you so much, sir, for that session. Now we have come.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we've come to the end of the webinar. I would like to call upon Mr. Srikanth for the vote of thanks.
Please unmute.
Srikanth, sir?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for having such a good webinar today. Within a short span of time, St.Claret College, Bangalore has done a wonderful job to accomplish this entire goal. And coming into the resource persons, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Lakshmi sir, Dr. Sutakar sir for their wonderful sessions today. And across, we have got some very good feedbacks from all our participants. We have got around more than 1,000 feedbacks, and almost everything is positive. And it was very useful amidst this COVID times. It was very useful. So I thank Dr. Lakshmi sir, who is a former national coach and who has worked with Sai for more than 35 years. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to thank Dr. Sutakar sir, who is one of the upcoming physical educationists from South India, who has produced a lot of PhDs and MPhils, and who's not only with physical education, who's much involved in sports training. His favorite areas are kabaddi and handball. And along with that, he is taken up the game, the indigenous game Sillambam, and he is taking it forward. And thank you for your wonderful presentation today, sir. It was an excellent presentation. And I would like to thank all the technical team, the management, and my close friend, Dr. Munraj, for hosting this wonderful webinar. Hope we join our hands to do many other activities along with PEFI and your institutions. And before ending up, I would like to thank one and all for registering and coming down and attending this session. We had around 1,150 registrations what we have received up to today. And this is our third webinar what we have done, and all the three have crossed more than 1,000 registrations. First we had with KLE College, the second one with Government College Gangavati, and the third one is St.Claret. And we are coming up with our fourth webinar shortly, which will be done by Indian Academy College. And we are coming out with a series of webinars every week. And apart from this webinars, we are coming up with virtual conferences, which we'll be shortly notifying. We'll be having virtual conferences for 2 days, where participants will be getting chance to present their papers, and their papers will be published across ISSN publications. We are coming up with 2 such virtual conferences. And apart from this, shortly we are starting an FDP along with an university, tied up with an university. We will be shortly sending the brochures of this. We will have 4 games running across 8 days, and each game will cover 2 days, and we will be covering the aspects of coaching, training, and the rules and regulations of each game. So that is the FDP what we are coming up. And this is all at the national level, what we are doing, and we are planning for international webinars also. And apart from all this, for the people of Karnataka and Kannadigarigagi, we are starting this. We have started the workshop, weekend workshop. This weekend workshop will be like that every weekend from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. We will be covering up various sportsmen across Karnataka who are top achievers, and people with knowledge of sports training, people with knowledge of rules and regulations, and elite athletes who can share their experiences. This is one platform where we have created for the people of Karnataka. There we would be addressing every week from 10:30 to 12. There would be no registration nor certificates for those events, but it will be informative sessions, knowledge sharing sessions, what we call. So last week we had one with Dr. Rajiv, who is an NIS athletic coach, and also Assistant Director of Physical Education in Horticulture University. Like that, we will be introducing a lot of people across Karnataka. And from this platform, we would like to introduce many of our physical education professionals around the state, around the country. And we would like to share knowledge from everyone. Knowledge and learning is never ending. So this is one aspect what we are looking from PEFI. And I think all members, those who are from Karnataka, kindly register with the PEFI Karnataka. We have shared the link. And all others from other states also can join PEFI through your state. There are a lot of happenings in every state. And every week, every Saturday and Sunday, we have got live sessions happening on Facebook from PEFI, where elite scientists, nutritionists, and sports training coaches from SAI and various bodies are addressing through the PEFI Facebook. That is PEFI. You can just go to Facebook and type PEFI. You will find a lot of activities. And from this platform, what would I request is any institutions in Karnataka, any institutions, any organizations, any academies, or any individual who is associated with sports can come down and put their interest down, and we will definitely work with you, and we can have a lot of events to happen. So anybody who's interested can take my number, and you can just text me if you are from Karnataka. If you are from any other state, there are people who are working with PEFI in your own states, so you can have a tie-up there. And important is what we want to tell from this platform is PEFI is one body who is the only association in India recognized by Government of India, only physical education association recognized by India. So in Karnataka, we have got around 1,900 members who have registered under PEFI Karnataka, and it's one of the largest networks in Karnataka in India. We are standing second place in as of now in India with a number of registrations, and being recognized by Government of India. Last 2 months, we have seen that our Honorable Sports Minister, Government of India, has addressed this platform twice, and he has entirely given weightage for physical education mainly. So with this, I would once again thank all the resource persons and management of St.Claret College and the entire technical team who have made this event successfully without any hindrance in between from the starting till the beginning. I don't want to tell the names. Starting from the registration and till now and till sending the certificates. It was a wonderful and marvelous job working with St.Claret College, Bangalore. And I would like to thank Dr. Munraj once again. And I would like to thank all the participants for registering and attending everything. And not last but the least, I would like to thank my technical team from Karnataka, PEFI team from Karnataka, and all the PEFI family members from Karnataka and PEFI family from India, especially Dr. Piyush Jain sir and his entire team who is supporting physical education and sports in a bigger way. PEFI across India is trying to implement physical education across all education institutions. That is their main aim of PEFI. They are taking physical education into every institution, and they are working with various governments to implement physical education in a bigger way. That is why we have taken up PEFI very seriously. And with this, I would like to thank one and all. And if I have forgotten anyone, I would apologize on my side. Thank you one and all. And hope we meet in the upcoming events. Probably we will be having one more webinar this weekend and one more next week. We will update you across and keep in touch. Thank you once again. Thank you one and all. Thank you, St.Claret.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sutakar sir would like to talk a few words about Sillambam. Sir?
Yes, ma'am. And good afternoon. And thank you, madam. This is my specialization, Sillambam. Sillambam is one of the famous martial art in our country. So only we are giving more important to other national sports like taekwondo, karate, judo, other sports. So we have to concentrate our sports activities. It is Sillambam. Many people do not know about Sillambam. Mm. This is one of traditional martial art in our country. It should be our country game. We have to concentrate for our country game. One video I have shared it to you. This is my performance while I'm doing Sillambam. So this game, Sillambam is one of the famous game in our country. So nobody is not knowing about this. So we are concentrating nowadays. We are developing this game in all over our country. So it is involving all the points of the body. So this martial art will be used by our kings, that Asian kings. They are using this martial art of spear, welcome, sword, and kadayam, and rolling sword or surulwal, uh, and how to attack and how to prevent from ourselves, and also that Adi Murai. Adi Murai, nowadays one movie is released, that actor Dhanush has released that movie, is Pattas movie. So I have acted as a coach in that movie. So how the muscles is involved, how we have to protect ourselves, how we have to prevent from the opponent, like that we acted in that movie. So we in that martial art we can use Varma points. Varma points. We have to predict the Varma and attack through the Varma. We have 108 Varma points in our body. While anybody is attacking, we have to defend, self-defense. We have to protect ourselves by doing this Sillambam movements, pair hand movements. So we have to protect from ourselves, protect from others. So this is one of the famous martial art we are developing across the country, and we are developing all over the world also. While Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, I have visited many countries. They are learning this game interestly. So we have to concentrate for doing like this type of practice to develop our muscular activities. I have done the research in the field of physical education in my PhD study. This Sillambam training will develop the physical, physiological, and psychological aspect also. It will be developed like other games to produce the more effect in that muscular strength, flexibility, speed, stamina, all those things. So we have to give more concentration for giving the physical activities like this type of Sillambam martial art. So I would like to thanks once again for giving this opportunity to say about in the martial art of Sillambam in my favorite game. And also I request everyone to please concentrate to develop their physical activity through developing the game of Sillambam. Once again, I thank the madam and Dr. Muniraju sir and Srikanth sir and the management and principals for given this opportunity to present the webinar and speak about Sillambam. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir. We've come to the end of our webinar. It does not matter where you go and what you study. What matters most is what you share with yourself and the greater world around us. We have come to the end of this national webinar on strategies of sports training amidst COVID pandemic. Our sincere words of gratitude to our two great personalities, Dr. Lakshmi and Dr. Sutakar, who is not just working for themselves, but works towards the betterment of sports in our nation. We are grateful to have you amidst us. Thank you once again, sir. I would also like to thank Mr. R. Srikanth and Mr. Srinivas from Physical Education Foundation of India for helping us organize this event in the most effective and beneficial manner. A special words of gratitude to the 1,100 participants from across India and participants from various other countries like Qatar, Kuwait, Philippines, UAE, and to name a few. Thank you so much. See you all again in the next webinar or FDPs. The link for the feedback is being put in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback form and you would get the certificates accordingly. Thank you all once again. I remain.
St.Claret College, Bangalore, started in the year 2005, caters to the educational needs of students doing both undergraduate and postgraduate studies from Bangalore, India and abroad. In a 13 acres campus, St.Claret College has everything that is needed for the educational pursuits of students. College caters not only to the intellectual pursuits of students, but also believes in the holistic development and so incorporates both curricular and extracurricular aspects in a unique Claretine way of educating students. With its tagline, Nurturing Values and Excellence, St.Claret College ultimately aims at empowering students with values, and as they graduate from the college, they are the best in the field of education. What we aim is holistic education. Every student that passes through the portals of St.Claret College would come out as persons who are intellectually competent, professionally skilled, spiritually vibrant, morally responsible, socially just, and culturally sensitive global citizens, and only then we claim that we have achieved our mission.
St.Claret College thrives on its core values. Claret's hierarchy of core values are faith in God, justice, truthfulness, personal integrity, respectful relationality, service, synergic cooperation, and intellectual competence. These true, authentic, and universal values govern every Claretine's behavioral, attitudinal, intellectual expressions and regulate the holistic Claretine education. Values are guiding principles to understand the difference between right and wrong. These values define Claretine brand and unite not only Claretines but every human being all over the world.